Welcome back to my channel. It's Danny here from Our Humble Home, and in today's video I'm going to be, or attempting to be, actually at this point I didn't know whether I was going to be doing up this little table. It was pretty destroyed and damaged, and I thought, is there any point in even going ahead with it and attempting to make it right and spending the time on it? But in the end, well, you'll just have to wait and see. I hope you join me for this week's video. It was pretty clear looking at it that the first thing I had to do was to remove the top. Originally I was going to peel off the veneer and prime what was under it, sand and prime what was under it, but it became clear even before I got to this point that I wouldn't be able to do that because underneath was just chipboard, and pretty damaged chipboard at that. It looked like it had had some water damage. The actual pieces around the edge that I just took off there and I'm trying to bang off, which was really hard to get off, that's actual solid wood, so I think that's why this was so hard to come off. And at this point I'm thinking I'm going to end up wrecking this piece even before I'd even started. It didn't bother me too much because I was in two minds whether to do anything with it at all, and to be honest, even all the way through at different points I stopped and sort of wrote it off. So I didn't really mind, you know, if this was someone else's piece that I was working on, I'd be packing it, but because it was my piece and I thought I could stop at any time, it would be okay. So look at this, like it's really bad. The veneer just peels off and the chipboard underneath is so flaky. So just continue to take the top off and see what we've got under there. So the next stage, I'm removing these little nails at the side, and I actually pull too hard and I pull off a bit of, at the top, a little bit of the veneer, and then so I grab hold of that and it just pulls off. And this happened in multiple places over the little piece, and I'm thinking, is it worth it again? Looking though at the structure of it after I'd taken the top off, it was quite solid. The chipboard underneath was pretty okay on the sides, so I thought I might continue. I had a round board that I used as a Lazy Susan that I had outside, and it had faded, and I brought it in. I thought I could use it as to make a top for this piece, so I used the old piece as a template and I measured around, adding sides on that where the timber was, so that there would be a lip around it, and I got David to cut that out. So this is how it turned out, which I was pretty pleased with. By the time I'd sanded, I also smoothed around the edge of it so it wasn't so square and sharp. There are some little yellow, I think maybe tannin stains coming through where I did whitewash it previously. So I thought I'd just worry about that later when the time came. But overall I was pleased with it at this stage. Even so, once I started filling in the pieces that had peeled off and filling in all of the little bits that had come off and the problems with it, I got to the point that night, and I didn't film where I was looking, but I thought I'm not going ahead with it. I put it aside because it was nighttime. I didn't throw it out. I didn't want to go out at night. I thought in the morning I'll throw it out. When I got up in the morning, I decided to continue with it. So I started sanding it back and trying to smooth out all of the pieces that I filled in. Now it's time to attach the top on, and I sort of looked, I was going to hammer it in from underneath. I wasn't sure how to do that, so I grabbed my construction adhesive. This is Maxi Nails that I got from Bunnings, and I use it for a lot of things. It's good because it doesn't set quickly, but when it does, it's rock hard. So I use this and I just placed the top on. I clamped the front in and I hammered the back in with nails. So I was glad to be at this point, because normally with a piece, unless it's really damaged, this is where you sort of start, is cleaning before priming and painting. So I was really pleased that I actually got to this point. And from this point, I knew that I was going to keep going with it and finish it off. So priming, I always prime my pieces now. I never used to. This piece in particular did bleed through, not so much on the drawers, but on the sides where I had sanded back with the sander. So I apply 2 coats of primer. After each coat of primer and paint, now I will roll down, and this gives a really, really smooth surface. And in between each coat of paint and primer, I also really lightly sand as well. This is a bit I really like, the painting bit, and you might remember about a month or so ago I did over this piece of furniture, and this now is where I keep all my paint supplies. And it was a makeover that was about my DIY transfers on furniture that I make just from copy paper that you will print out on your home computer. So if you're interested in that, check out the link there where the arrow is. But I buy mist tint paint pots from Bunnings, and I have so many different colours. Every time I go there, I have a look and see what they have. And these are really great. This one, actually take a screenshot of this if you watched last week's video on the little pretty, the 5-drawer dresser I did. That colour was so pretty, that pink. I really love it, and I'll be doing more furniture makeovers with that colour. And if you take a screenshot of it and take that into your paint shop, you'll be able to replicate that colour. But the paint pots I get, most of them are 250ml and they're $2. So that actually did that big 5-drawer dresser, and it will do 2 bedside tables. So for $2, that's really cheap and really great value. This is the colour I'm doing this piece. It's like a beigey bone sort of colour. It may not be quite that dark in real life. It's funny, when light gets on things, it does change it. But I'm adding calcium carbonate, 1 tablespoon of calcium carbonate, and that's about 250 ml in there, and that will make the chalk paint. And then I shake it all up and I apply with a paintbrush, and again I go over it with a roller between each coat, and then I sand in between each coat. I don't normally paint the back of my pieces, but I just wanted to with this piece. I paint the back and I also paint underneath as well, and I apply these rubber floor protectors, and I really like these because they're very sturdy. They give the piece a stability, I guess, when you place it on any surface. So especially a hard surface, it gives it a nice stability. One of the reasons I wanted to do this bedside table over too was to practice my stencils. This stencil I made myself. It's a silk screen stencil, and this is the video on it, and again I'll put a link to that video just there where the arrow is. I really suggest, if you've got a Cricut or something, a Cameo, try it out if you haven't already, because they make really great stencils. They're easy to make and fun to make. They're original. You can make your own design. They're washable. Yeah, they're just really good. I really love them, and what I do is I stencil on all the front of each of the 3 drawers, and I stencil inside the drawers, so when you pull the drawer out you'll be able to see the pretty stencil design on the drawers there too. So pretty, I just love them. The knobs, I had the holes were drilled, but I did have to make them a bit bigger. The knobs I got from Kmart, and because this drawer had like a double side, I had to take this bit off here, this gold piece, otherwise the bolt wouldn't fit through. So I did that and I screwed them on. These handles, and I try to get handles from Kmart when they're on special, pack of 2 for $2. So they're porcelain handles, so they're ultra good value, and I think they suit the piece, they suit the colour, and I think they look quite good. So after I move the tape, there's always just a little fine line of paint that has come through the tape, and that's really easy just to sand off. And I lightly sand. This is a little fine sanding block from Bunnings. I think it was $1 something, and I love this, and I use it just to sand off the timber and smooth it down, and it really makes a big difference. But here, just looking back to remind you what the top was like and now what the top is like, and I absolutely love it. It looks really lovely. I'm using the same paint to create a paint wash for the top, which is what I normally do when I've sanded back the top of a bedside table or a piece of furniture. Normally it's white, but you can do any color you like really, and I don't measure anything. I just add water to the paint so that it's runny, and it will go on, and it won't dry too fast, because if it's too thick it will dry too fast. And also I add water to the timber just also so it doesn't dry too fast or soak in too quickly. And I paint that on, and then I wipe it off. The last step is the waxing, so I wax all over the top and the drawers and the body of the piece. I use a wet rag to apply, I leave it dry for about 15 minutes to half an hour, then go over and polish, and it gives it a lovely sheen. I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'm really pleased that I persisted with this, because at the beginning I thought, should I even bother? I thought that multiple times, but as it turned out, it's beautiful. I love it, and I love the top as well. What do you think? Comment below, and if you like this video, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Bye for now. Time for the paint recipe. So I combine my primer, I combine my top coat, and I combine the paint all in one tin, equal amounts. I'm also going to add calcium carbonate to this because I'll be making chalk paint. One of the main reasons for this too, I normally do it, but my top coat is a gloss.